Hi there. I went to see Star Wars The Last Jedi last night, and I thought I'd give you my thoughts on what I thought of the movie. Now, I'm going to make the first part spoiler-free, so if you're watching you don't have to run away, because I'll give you a warning before I go into the spoilers, which I will do. Now, I thought the movie was worth 3 out of 5 stars, and just to give you an idea of perspective, I gave The Force Awakens 3.5 out of 5 stars. So I don't think it's as good as The Force Awakens. And if any of you watching had a problem with how heavily The Force Awakens borrowed from the original trilogy, you're going to have the same problem this time. That was my main problem with it, and I didn't have as much of a problem in the first one, but this one I did. And although I did appreciate the humour, and I loved the development of Poe's character, Luke's character, and Rey's character as well. I felt that they were good. Oh, Kylo Ren's as well. I felt that they were good arcs for their characters. So that was really good. But yeah, overall, I was disappointed in some elements of the movie, but you know, others were good. So it was a real sort of mixed bag for me. Okay, I'm going to go into spoilers now, so if you don't want to know what happens, I suggest you stop watching now because I'm going to get into detail. Okay, let's start with what I didn't like first, so I can get that out of the way and then talk about the positive stuff. Borrowing heavily from the original trilogy. I didn't mind it in The Force Awakens because I thought we were establishing a new trilogy, they were trying to develop connections. I thought, okay, we can deal with that. However, considering the backlash that there was against them doing it in that one, I was incredibly surprised to see how heavily they borrowed from it in this one. And it was quite disappointing. I mean, the one example was the Hoth planet. I can't remember what the planet was called because it's irrelevant, because it was clearly Hoth. And although they took pains to point out that it was salt, not snow, it still looked like snow. The base looked like the Hoth base. They had an iron cannon there. They were in trenches, and they were flying out to face walkers. It was the Hoth battle without the cable going around and knocking over a walker. Some differences, but so many similarities. You know, I found it disappointing, especially since the Hoth battle is probably my favourite battle in all of Star Wars, and I just didn't appreciate that they ripped it off. Then, of course, you had the Millennium Falcon in that same scene, takes the fighters away, goes down some kind of underground area, which looked so much like the interior of the Death Star in Return of the Jedi that, honestly, at times I thought I was watching the Return of the Jedi because the shots were so similar, and in all honesty, that just seemed plain lazy to me. It was really close. So that wasn't good either. And of course, then you had Snoke, who, you know, Kylo Ren takes Rey to Snoke, and I don't think he was trying to turn her, which is probably a difference. But, you know, you still had him torturing her to try and find out where Luke was, and then, of course, Kylo Ren kills him. And while the killing was different, and I liked the different way it was done from how the Emperor was killed in Return of the Jedi, it was still a very similar scene. Now, of course, too, you have Kylo Ren then trying to turn Rey. I didn't have as much of a problem with that scene because it seemed quite different from Empire, and the responses from Empire were different also. So that was okay, but overall the scene did seem quite similar. Another thing I didn't like was the casino planet, I can't remember what it was called, where Rose and Finn went to find the codebreaker. I found the scenes there a little cheesy with the whole Oliver Twist kind of element with those kids and them riding the horsey kind of thing, whatever it was, someone can tell me. And I just didn't think it worked, and although I liked the codebreaker guy they got, I didn't really like the scenes where they were running away there. I found that they were went on too long. The Porgs I'll mention at this point too. I liked the Porgs, but I felt the last couple of places where they showed them during the battle were inappropriate. It really stopped the pace dead of the battle scenes, because you stick a Porg in and you're meant to go, oh, they're so funny. You know, I thought they were cute, and I loved when Chewbacca was cooking one of them and the others are just looking at him like this. I thought that was really cool. But yeah, the last two, I think it was 2 shots where the Porgs were in, I felt were completely unnecessary and not appropriate. Now for some things I did like. So just harking back to the scene where they found the code-breaking guy. I loved him. I really like amoral characters, and he was very much the kind of guy, just go with the money trail. You know, whoever pays me the most money is where I go. And I actually really liked that scene on the Star Destroyer with him, because that was a complete failure. Finn and Rose, nothing worked there. They were lucky to get off alive. There was no redeeming factor from what they did. Nothing was a success. In fact, everything just kept getting worse. And I liked that element of it. I thought it was, that was original. I really enjoyed it. Another thing I really enjoyed was the humour. Loved the opening scene where Poe's on hold to talk to General Hux, is it? And they're trying to, you know, he's pretending that General Hux isn't, you know, he can't get through to General Hux. And I thought that was absolutely hilarious, that that General Hux was going, you know, oh, you know, you can't hear me. I thought that was so funny. And of course, the humour too with Rey and Luke, with the whole attitude there, and also with Leia's joke with Luke as well. I loved Poe's arc in this, you know, kind of like he's the gung-ho pilot and you think he's right when he's conflicting with Admiral Holo until her plan is revealed. And then of course it's like, well, duh, you should have just followed orders and trusted your leadership. So I kind of like that development. By the end he is doing that more. Loved Luke in this. Just adored Luke. He was great. I loved him changing from the, you know, the kind of positive, oh, we can do it, I'm not afraid of anything, blah, blah, blah. And now he's this cranky old get off my lawn guy who just, he's going, oh, you know, I'm not going to do anything, I'm just going to stay here and sulk. And I really enjoyed that. And I enjoyed the fact too that you think at first he's just there because he feels a failure, but then as things go on you're sort of getting the impression, well, did he try and kill Kylo Ren in cold blood or not? And also then it's kind of like, when it's revealed that he had that dark thought that nearly got Kylo killed by him, it's kind of like you can understand why he's probably gone away, because not only is there a shame of it, there's also the worry of, you know, is the darkness inside him too. So I liked that too. I did like the fact that he and Leia got a scene together. I was really concerned when the movie was getting to clearly its end and Luke had not returned. I was worried that we weren't going to get to see him and Leia together, because that was really important to me in terms of the fact that Carrie Fisher isn't around anymore, and I really wanted her and Luke to have a scene where they were reunited. So that was a beautiful scene and I enjoyed that immensely. Loved Kylo Ren's fight with Luke, especially with Luke, you know, Kylo Ren bombarding him with all this fire, and then Luke just goes, when he comes out and he's all in one piece. And I did like the revelation of how that worked. Of course, then we came to the bit of the movie which I most definitely did not like, and that was the fact that Luke died, which was the thing I really didn't want. Now, I was happier with him dying the way he did than in an actual battle scene with Kylo Ren. That would have been not that good. But no, it's kind of like, I didn't want him to die at all. Now, I know being a Jedi doesn't mean he can't be in the next movie, because he can be a ghost force person, but still, it's like, you know, no legacy players for the next one. I'm not happy with that idea, and I really would strongly advise that Luke be appearing as a ghost, because I think it would make the movie a lot better. By the way, in that regard, loved Yoda's appearance. Loved that Yoda, you know, Luke goes down with a fire, he's going to destroy the Jedi text and everything. Yoda does it for him, and then Luke goes, what are you doing, what are you doing? And Yoda sort of says, you're an idiot. Just stop being stupid and move on and go and do things the right way round. So I really loved that too, that Luke did that, and that Yoda appeared in that way. That was fantastic. And it was so enjoyable seeing that scene, and I liked their interplay there. But yeah, Luke isn't around anymore, and hopefully he will come back, which will be good. It's really so, you know, that's probably all the things I can think of that I actually did kind of be interested in. But But yeah, it was just so disappointing to have so much of the focus on the repeating things from the original trilogy. I expect better from Disney. They're a company with a lot of money. They can employ people who can think of more original ideas. And personally, I'm not going to see it again in the cinema, and if there had been more originality in it, I probably would be counting the days until I got to see it again and seeing it several times. So, you know, I think it would be better, and it would be likely to make a lot more money too, if they had more original elements and not copy things from the original trilogy again in the next one, which would definitely be preferable for me. Anyway, thank you if you've made it to the end of this video, and I hope you've enjoyed it, and leave comments if you want to let me know what you thought of the movie. I'd be happy to hear from you. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.